Now entering the Shark Tank is Vivica to convince you that food is the best way for your team to take on climate change.
Food. Food unites everyone around the world every day because we all need to eat. Every day, we choose what we're going to purchase and eat. But how often do we think about how food affects our climate? Every aspect of our food system, from producing it to transporting it to managing the waste produced greenhouse gases, contributes to climate change. As a matter of fact, food production and processing are responsible for approximately 26% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Currently, most of our food is produced in an industrial system of factory farms filled with animals raised in inhumane conditions and crops reliant on pesticides and fertilizers. On top of all the greenhouse gases produced by this system, it also emits dangerous pollution into the land, air, and water in forms of animal waste, chemical fertilizers, and pesticides, and industrial emissions. There are a lot of environmental justice issues when it comes to food. Food-related pollution is often concentrated in low-income communities and communities of Black, Indigenous, and people of color who live and work nearby. This pollution can lead to severe health problems. On top of this, low-income communities and communities of Black, Indigenous, and people of color may live in food deserts, which are regions where there is limited access to healthy, sustainably produced food that's affordable. This leads to a higher risk of diet-related conditions, such as obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. The good news is that food is a source of pollution and climate change that is largely in our control as consumers. The decision we make about food every day can make a huge difference to our planet. Some foods are more harmful to the environment than others. For instance, the production of meat, especially beef, produces a much larger amount of greenhouse gases and uses much more water than plant-based proteins like beans or nuts. And buying foods that are local and in season produce less greenhouse gases than buying foods that are processed and transported from far away. And no matter what we eat, food that is wasted ends up in a landfill, which emits a harmful greenhouse gas called methane that has an outsized impact on worsening the climate crisis. There are many ways you can make a difference. You can eat less meat, especially beef, and convince institutions to do the same. One of the great ways to do this is to advocate for Meatless Monday programs. You can promote organic and locally produced foods. Start a garden or support a community garden. Help promote and advocate for a local farmers market or CSA. Or start composting and get your school and community to start too. Finally, you can convince people to waste less food. Hungry for change? Pick a project focused on food, and your team can help your community fight climate change and make healthy choices that are good for their bodies and the planet.